For home ec this week, we're going to look at a few different varieties of things that should be in your diet that have important nutrients and food categories. And today we wanted to talk just briefly about legumes, which are beans, also known as, and nuts and seeds. They provide so many good things for your body. What are legumes? Legumes are plants whose seeds grow in a pod. They split on both sides when they're ripe. And so think of green beans, think of purple-eyed peas, purple whole peas, things like that. Those are beans. What do they provide? Why are they important? They're important because they provide complex carbs, which give you fiber and vitamins and nutrients. They are also a good source of protein. They are low in fat, not like the protein that comes from animals, which is typically high in fat. And the low in fat helps you reduce the risk of heart disease and cancers and other disease. They are grouped with other proteins, considered protein, I guess, as long as they're combined with other things, because they are an incomplete protein. Proteins from animals have all of the essential amino acids that your body has to have. It cannot produce them, where beans have a portion of them. However, they are counted as a serving of protein. They also are counted as a serving of vegetables, so they are great. When you combine them with a grain, this article talks about how they make a complete protein. When you combine them with a grain, they are an inexpensive source of protein and an excellent source of multiple vitamins and nutrients. And they will also help you feel full, which might suppress your appetite and helps manage blood sugar levels, which our society desperately needs. We have way too much white flour, white sugar in our diets that destroys our blood sugar. And so on. So there's really multiple things that they help with heart disease, the amino acids they provide, and they are very, very important and necessary. All right, so how do you buy and how do you store them? You can obviously buy them canned, but you can buy dried beans. They will keep a lot longer. And there are just some different tricks as to how to prepare them. How long do they keep when they are dry? Typically thought 6 months is the freshest keeping them. As they continue to age, they dry out, take longer to soften and cook. And so you could keep dried beans for a long, long time. You just might have trouble cooking them, taking a while to cook them. Well, when you are purchasing them and getting them ready to cook, look for bright color. Make sure they don't have any visible damage, and they are uniform size for even cooking. Where do you keep them? In your pantry, which is cool and dry and dark, and in an airtight container is a great place to store them. They typically come in a plastic bag, and so you can just throw that in the back of your pantry or put it in an airtight container for longer storage. How do you prepare them if you have dry beans? They do take some time to get them ready. Usually you start the day before. They need to be washed, rinsed in cold water multiple times to remove any dirt or strange things that might be in there. Sometimes you find those. You kind of sort through them, wash them multiple times in different bowls of water. Then they go through a soaking process where they reabsorb water that they lost in the drying process. And then for cooking, there are a number of ways that you can cook. You can simmer them. Mainly, the main thing you need to remember about cooking dried beans is just gently and slowly, and that prevents them from turning to mush and the skin falling off. So you can slow cook them. Slow cookers have a very low temperature for 8 hours or so during the day, or pressure cook them, which has become my favorite thing because what takes all day in a slow cooker or 3 or 4 hours simmering on the stove, the pressure cooker will do in about 40 minutes. Add multiple spices and flavorings because beans will pick up flavor. Always be sure to chop up onions and garlic. And if you have meat, like a ham bone, is excellent for adding to cooked beans. Many cultures focus on these inexpensive ways of getting protein and into your diet by combining them with a grain for that complete protein. If you think of Cuban, like black beans and rice would be an example, or Indian lentils and rice. And so it's really interesting to look around the different parts of cultures and how they incorporate complete proteins in their diet for what's available and what is cultural for them. Nuts and seeds are also excellent source of protein. They're a little bit different than legumes. Nuts and seeds are the seed kernel in a hard outer shell. And so peanuts are typically thought of as nuts, but really they are classified as a bean. However, we treat them like nuts when we eat them or serve them. Nuts and seeds are included in the meat group because of their high protein content and their vitamin B content. They are different than legumes in that they are high in fat, but it's a good kind of fat. It's not your saturated fats that you find in animal products, but mostly mono and polysaturated, which your body needs. You need fat. Fat provides help in many of your bodily functions. Nuts and seeds are rich in vitamin E, in the B6 vitamins, and folate. They are also really high in multiple trace minerals that you're not getting elsewhere. If you think of vitamin E is one of those, I think it helps you with circulation. Some of the things I've read, tissue repair and healing. It helps to slow down the aging process. It is a powerful antioxidant that works to free your body of free radicals. And what happens when you eat damaged foods, or particularly damaged oils that have spoiled and gone bad, they produce free radicals, and they are little atoms within molecules within that substance that have an uneven amount of electrons, and the electrons in the atom are looking to be evened out. And so they're running around looking for something to join to, and they end up joining to tissues in your body and changing them. And so we call that process oxidation, and many believe it to be the precursor and the cause of some of the devastating disease that we're facing, like heart disease and cancers and things like that. So you need antioxidants that will fight that. Vitamin E is one of those. Phytochemicals found in plants is also one of those. I could spend a lot of time talking about the benefits of all of these nutrients. Let me just pick one more to talk about, and then look up some of the things that are. Magnesium. Let's talk about magnesium. Magnesium is essential for enzyme activity. It helps you to take in calcium, which is formation for your bones, protecting your bones, and potassium that keeps your electrolytes and your fluid levels up. It helps your nerve transmission, it helps your bone forms, and it helps you metabolize, use carbs and minerals. It also helps you form tooth enamel. If you are deficient in magnesium, it can result in heart disease, chronic weight loss, or obesity. It can result in fatigue and impaired brain function. And so if you don't get these nutrients in your diet, then there are results and consequences of that. So take a minute and look up some of these nutrients and what they actually do for your body. They help. Nuts and seeds also help manage weight because they stay with you a long time. They're high fat and protein content, help you to feel full and satisfied. They reduce heart disease and diabetes. I guess you can read that. How do you purchase nuts and seeds? You can purchase them raw or roasted, and they can be roasted in just with heat or with oil. Obviously, if you're roasting them in oil, they will be a lot more, have more calories in them. However, some of those oil roasted nuts are delicious. You can also purchase them in nut butters. We always think of peanut butter, but try for a change almond butter. It's more expensive. I guess almonds are more expensive than peanuts, but it is amazingly tasty. Or cashew butter. Some of the seeds are made into butters, sunflower seeds. I've seen sun butter. Also, if you're familiar with sesame seed butter, which is also known as tahini, it is used in Middle Eastern dishes like hummus uses tahini, which is made from sesame seeds. So that's a great choice. Hummus would be a mixture of the beans, which are chickpeas, as well as the seeds from sesame seeds. How do you store nuts and seeds? They do need to be stored in the refrigerator or freezer because the oils in them can go rancid, which means they spoil and they're no longer good in a pretty short period of time. If you eat them within a few weeks, it's fine to store them in the cabinet. But if you are keeping them for a long time, I usually stick mine in the freezer, and that protects them the best. You can toast them. That does bring out more flavor for certain dishes, throwing them on a salad or putting them in your granola. and things like that. So work through and find answer a few of the questions that I'll have for you in the form, and try to think of more ways to incorporate nuts and seeds and legumes in your diet.